Absolutely, and in particular.
Shalom Akim, Yabashima Shabraktam, Shemra Kwakwadash, double honors and salutations to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Since Akim, been keeping an eye on what's going on in Syria, because we all got the message, that the U.S., and their allies, they had to launch a strike against Syria. And to be able to think, that the prophecies of Yahweh Shemel Shah is coming to pass. It's been a while, but it's happening. So a lot of folks been saying, well, not in their lifetime, but it's happening right before their eyes, and they can't ignore it no more, man. So those days of relaxing and having a nice time are coming to an end. All right, they're on the way out. So I got a few precepts just to bring to the forefront, but I'll just play the video so
We
brothers
were
get an
watching
idea
what the
of what's
reaction from the
happening.
Russian government is. They claim that these strikes are an attack against them. Now, Syria right now is the battleground for a number of different conflicts and a few proxy wars that are ongoing there. Russia and Iran are allied with the Assad regime there, essentially keeping it in power. The Russian ambassador to the United States has just provided a statement. Anatoly Antonov, he says, quote, "Again, we are being threatened. We warn that such actions will not be left without consequences. Insulting the president of Russia is unacceptable and inadmissible. The U.S., the possessor of the biggest arsenal of chemical weapons, has no moral right to blame other countries." Now, over the past several days, Russia has warned against an attack on its ally, the Assad regime. The UK, the U.S., France, and others have fought with Russia at the United Nations Security Council over this. Russia has denied the chemical weapons attack and then blamed the British government for staging it. Russia agreed in 2013 to destroy Syria's chemical weapons. The U.S. says the Russians enabled the Syrian government to carry out these attacks. It also says the Syria attacks and Russia attack on a former spy in the UK normalizes chemical weapons use, which is the reason why they've pushed back in this manner. Now, the Pentagon says it designed these attacks to avoid any Russian forces that they've identified or might be in that area. But just yesterday in his Senate confirmation hearing, the Secretary of State designee, Mike Pompeo, acknowledged publicly that the U.S. military has already killed hundreds of Russians in one particular fight and attack there. There were previous reports that those Russians were mercenaries fighting with forces there. Now, Russia, Iran, and Turkey met last week to discuss the future of Syria. The Iranian government has yet to react to this, but we are getting some reaction from the Syrian government. Just a tweet at the Syrian presidency page. They tweeted it out in Arabic. This is a translation from the Associated Press saying, quote, "Good souls will not be humiliated." Now, while Pompeo waits for his confirmation vote in the U.S. Senate, the acting Secretary of State is Deputy Secretary John Sullivan. He's down in Peru right now at an international summit there, though officials say he has been.
Yes, that's the point, Akim, because all these diplomatic arrangements is not going to yield any positive results, man. We're in the time of World War III, This is the war to end all wars, just like they kept saying during World War II, World War One, the war to end all wars. So World War III is the final war, man. That's what the Holy Scriptures has talked about, and Esau knows it. He can't deny it. The elite, they've studied the Scriptures day in, day out. They have the archaeological teams that go around the world, looking for evidence of certain things, man. They go around the world looking at ruins, digging up old relics. So much, man. They got the facts. You know. So I'm gonna read Ezekiel chapter 12. I start from verse 26. Again, the word of the Lord Yahweh came to me, saying, Son of man, behold, they of the house of Israel say the vision that he seeth is for many days to come, and he prophesied of the times that are far off. Alright, so this was like thousands of years ago, and now, hey, it's coming to pass, man. The spirit of reincarnation is real, so it's no joke, man. We're looking at the downfall of empire of the Edomites, the empire of the so-called white man. It doesn't matter what part of the earth they're in. It's the fall of Esau, you know, and that's the way the Most High set it up. And certain things had to happen, for all of it to lead to this stage. And we've seen it. So there's the prophecy of Yahweh Shem Shai coming to pass. And then, folks can't deny it, they can't ignore it. It's going to be discussed in churches, in schools, on the buses, in the papers, on the radio, on TV, you know, even over a dinner, at the dinner table. I'm saying about those crazy guys at the corner of the street. They do have a point, but hey, it's not our point, it's the point of the Most High. America is on its way out. The empire of the Caucasians is on the way out. Esau's pissed off, is angry to a max. So it's gonna be like a madman, man, in these last days. Just slaughtering people, by the thousands, by the millions. It's gonna pull out every trick in the book, to harm life on earth. It's gonna come after the prophets of the Lord. Alright, so this is Ezekiel chapter 12, verse 28. Therefore say unto them, thus said the Lord Yahweh, there shall none of my words be prolonged any more, but the word which I have spoken shall be done, said the Lord Yahweh. So it's beautiful. It's going to come to pass. Reagan, they all know about the prophecies. Clinton, Bush, Obama, even the Jacques Chirac, one of the prime minister of France, English prime ministers, the royal family, the elites, the presidents, the ruling class of all these different nations. They all know about prophecy. And they're nervous, man. They're trying their best to avoid it, but it's going to come to pass, man. World War III is inevitable, So it's going to be awesome to see how things play out, man. Because we are in the last days. So this is Daniel chapter 8, verse, start from verse 25, because, the men of the Lord go through visions, man. See visions that the Most High, gives us, and it's not easy pill to swallow, right? And so this chapter is basically talking about the empire of the Edomites, the Greco-Roman Empire, its inception, and I'm just gonna go straight into verse 25. Okay, it's by the Greeks, just to be more specific. So it talks about, and through his policy he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand, and he shall magnify himself in his heart, and by peace shall destroy many. And he shall also stand up against the prince of princes, but he shall be destroyed, he shall be broken without hand. Okay, so that's how, Antiochus Epiphanes got taken out by the Most High. He had a terrible death, a shameful death. The Most High plagued him from the, from a specific point till he died, man. Was thinking all the way till the end. He got torn up badly. Though he begged for mercy, he repented, but the Most High didn't hear that because, hey, anyone that wants to come against the Most High, they do it at their own destruction. Alright, so it's going to be awesome, man, when the Most High starts to lay hands on the rulers of these nations, man. Start, bringing heavy judgment upon them. Alright, and verse 26 of Daniel chapter 8 says, and the vision of the evening and the morning which was told is true. Wherefore shalt thou up the vision? It shall be for many days. Alright, and it's come to pass, man. The prophecy of the Greeks already came to pass, of the Romans, of the Persians, of the Babylonians, of the British Empire getting steam, the slavery of the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, World War I, World War II, the economic collapses, the plagues and pestilences across the four corners of the earth, It's gonna be made evident, to the men of the Lord, you know. And verse 28, 7 says, "And I, Daniel, fainted and was sick certain days. After I rose up and did the king's business, and I was astonished at the vision, but none understood it." So this is just the prophecies, that the prophets saw in the last days back then, but the last days already started a long time ago. And then, they couldn't process it, man, because it was a very heavy vision for them. And now that these prophecies are coming to pass, we're seeing it, with our two eyes. We're able to understand that the Most High is bringing things to pass, and there's no way around it. And then we just have to bear it, man. The men of the Lord have to carry this responsibility. So this is the book of Habakkuk. I'll read chapter 2. So this is Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 3. "For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry." So World War III is already here, it's been here for a while, you know. So it's a bitter process, man. It's that bitter episode of the scriptures that we have to endure, man. Brothers just gotta endure to the end. Because when the text message got sent yesterday across different platforms that that the NATO members, U.S., Britain, and France, had to coordinate their strikes on Syria. I'm like, wow, what the hell is going on? But hey, it had to happen, It's not going to be delayed anymore. The violence is going to escalate, So Esau hasn't really shown much of what he did over there, as per the destruction he tried to bring to Syria. He hasn't showed much of it on his news here in America. But the men of the Lord have to look to other sources of news, man, outside America. Whoever has the contacts, to show exactly what's going on in the Middle East, man. Because you could see that if you go ahead and watch the videos, what happened in Syria, you got the people in the streets driving around, jubilating that they're still here, that the strikes that were coordinated wasn't anything to talk about, man, just some BS. But all that rejoicing and driving around the streets honking their horns is gonna be short-lived, man. Because this war is gonna ramp up, man. It's gonna get very heated. You're gonna have invasion at different levels, man. It's gonna be so bad, so bad. Folks are gonna be crying to the elected officials to bring back home the troops, but it's not gonna happen. That cry is gonna fall on deaf ears. So spiritual. America is on its way out. The regular cop on the streets is gonna have a nervous breakdown. Mayor's nervous breakdown. You know, so it's gonna be so bad, man. Government buildings will be heavily guarded. So it's gonna be sad times coming upon America. And folks that think it's all a joke, that the Mossad's words are just fake, fairy tales or fables, uh, you know, fiction. Yep, they're gonna have a rude awakening. So this is Psalms chapter 21, verse 7. "For the king trusteth in the Lord." Alright, "For the king trusteth in the Lord, and through the mercy of the Most High he shall not be moved." Just like, the King David trusted in the Most High, so the prophets of the Most High have to trust in him, man, because all this hell is going to go out of control, man, but our trust in the Lord will not be dashed, okay? "Thine hand shall find out all thine enemies, thine right hand shall find out those that hate thee." So when that time comes, man, all the enemies of the Lord, they're gonna be hunted down, man. The angels of the Lord will be coming for them. You know, the Spirit of the Lord will be hunting for them wherever they are on the face of the earth, beneath the surface of the earth, whether they are above in the skies, you know, outer space. Hey, they're gonna be taken. They're gonna be taken for judgment. All right, and then let you know, man, that America is gonna be turned upside down. You know, the lake of fire. And then you look at verse 9. Thou shalt make them as a fiery oven in the time of their anger. Alright, so when those nuclear missiles start to drop, you know, in America and China and Russia, India, Pakistan, uh, England, you know, you name it, man. Wherever the nuclear missiles start to hit, it's gonna be so bad, man. You know, that fire, that combustion is gonna be so out of control, man. It's gonna destroy so many lives. Infrastructure will be wiped away. Okay, because that's the anger of the Lord that's coming upon the face of the earth. The Lord shall swallow them up in his wrath, and the fire shall devour them. So that nuclear fire, it's not just gonna be digital effects, man. It's gonna be real. You know, it's gonna be so bad upon the face of the earth. You know, for those that fall victim to the violence of World War III, man. The violence of martial law, the violence of civil war. It's gonna be bad times for them, man, because the Most High has to do something, and what it's gonna do is gonna be so terrible that the elites are gonna go into hiding. So with that said, Kahala Yabashima Shai, double honors and salutations to the elders and apostles of Garrett Moonstone that rule well. The prophecies are coming to pass. The Russians are going to lock horns with NATO. And World War III is going to heat up. It's all prophecy. Look at Ezekiel, the 38th chapter. It's going to be beautiful to see how the Most High waves his hand upon the face of the earth. Shalom.